Hello. Last time we saw an overview of the Lamrim. I tried to give just the general features of the three scopes. And then we went down to the very fundamentals, we saw the greatness of the teacher, to see the credentials of the teacher in this context, in particular, Lama Tisha. And then a little bit about Tsongkhapa, who wrote the Lamrim Chenmo, and then Yangsi Rinpoche, who wrote this commentary on that we were following a bit loosely, but we're basing ourselves on this modern commentary on the Lamrim Chenmo by Yangsi Rinpoche, and we saw that according to Rinpoche says that Yangsi Rinpoche is very suitable person to explain the Lamrim because on the one side, he has done extensive studies and became a Larampa Geshe at Sierra. And on the other side, he has this very important condition of pure Guru devotion. We also saw the four greatnesses of the Lamrim, how the teachings of the Buddha through the Lamrim appears as completely non-contradictory, as instruction for practice, and that we easily find the intention of the 84,000 teachings of the Buddha through a very relatively short system as the Lamrim, and that we abandon the great misdeeds of abandoning the Dharma by understanding the two first greatnesses, and then how to listen to the Dharma, and then
Sorry, to what?
The first two other greatnesses, like seeing the teachings as non-contradictory, the three vehicles, or Sutra and Tantra,
right.
or Hinayana and Mahayana, seeing that these are completely non-contradictory, that they are one person's path to traverse to complete enlightenment, and that we stop, we stop discriminating, we don't discriminate the teachings of the Buddha as being good or bad, valid or non-valid, and so on. Just taught for different people at different levels. And then how to listen by abandoning the three faults of a vessel, relying on the six discriminations, and so on. And how to explain the Dharma as well. So I need to reread this section, how to explain the Dharma with pure motivation, and doing it as faultless as possible, and with a smile. With a smile. It's like Saint Francis, he would say, with regard to the gospel, he would say it's unsuitable to teach the gospels with a frowning face. One has to be, as one's teaching the happy news of the Dharma that we have, because all of us have a deep wish to be happy and not to suffer, and suffering doesn't have the last word and existence in our life. That true and lasting happiness is possible, and that we can consider ourselves very fortunate if we have met a Dharma system which, on the one hand, makes sense, is reasonable, which we can verify in many ways, which, on the other hand, is speaking to a lot of our inner intuitions, needs as human beings, and especially the need or the wish for a deep and lasting happiness. So the wish fulfilling jewel of the Dharma can fulfill that. And that's why it needs to be delivered with let's say, a happy face. And then we entered into how to rely, the first topic, how to rely on a guru. And we saw the 10 qualities, which a fully qualified Mahayana teacher should have, or we should look in. That one should not say one should not rush to rely on a guru, but one should really understand the qualities, understand the context of relying on a guru, and check the person for the qualities, and check oneself how one is connecting and if one could benefit, right? Not, as the proverb goes, not letting anyone lead you by the nose ring. That's the Tibetan proverb for how to rely on a guru. Because this relationship becomes an extremely important relationship. It's a relationship over lifetimes. So in some sense, it is even more important than, the relationships that we develop in this life with family, friends, and so on. And relying on a guru becomes indispensable when we want to enter the mantrayana, the tantric vehicle, the fast vehicle, and also in general for the Mahayana system. So Atisha says that one who has entered the Mahayana vehicle has definitely relied upon a guru. Whereas for the middle scope, being when one is striving for one's own personal liberation, one is striving for nirvana, it is still very important to have respect and devotion for one's preceptor, for one's teacher, but one does not have to see that person as a Buddha. The guru devotion aspect of the path is not as important. And to achieve a high rebirth, I think in general it is not necessary to rely on a guru. So yeah, so one needs to see the context for it. So even though we want to rely on a guru, like if we come to the point where we want to rely upon a qualified spiritual master, that we see the need for it, and that we see this person is qualified, it's not necessary that this person will accept us. So we need to check that we have actually the qualities as well. It might be some desperate guru who really wants disciples. Like I heard this story, very nice story of Chogyam Trungpa when he came to, when he moved from India, he first moved to England and he was studying English there, and he was studying at Oxford University. And he had this very, this karmic connection with Jesunma Tenzin Palmo, the Western nun who spent 12 years in retreat in India. And
she visited Israel twice.
She was here teaching you as well? Okay.
Yeah, I think even more than twice. Maybe yeah,
So she's, I think, person that would be, suitable guru. Very, very pure practitioner. After 1 week, she had already connected with Chogyam Trungpa. She and her precious mother had, went to some talks, and then they connected and they became friends. And at some point, Chogyam Trungpa said, well, I've heard this from some talk online. He said to her, it might be difficult for you to believe this, but actually in Tibet, I was quite a big lama, a big teacher. And I never thought it would come to this, but please, may I teach you some meditation? So in these degenerate times, It might be that the guru has to flatter the disciples, but in general, it's not that the guru will just accept us because we come to a spiritual teacher, want their instructions. And if it's a very pure practitioner, they're not at all desperate to have disciples. From their side, don't care. So we need to check that we have the suitable qualities, and in Aryadeva's 400 stanzas, it says that we need 3 qualities. We need intelligence to be able to discriminate real teachings or authentic teachings from inauthentic teachings. It means that we have to have studied some, we need some common sense, and we need to listen to the teachings and think about them, critically and observe, the teacher. Not critical in the judgmental way, but critical in, does the person have the qualities or not? One needs impartiality, which means that one is not clinging to one's own perspectives, opinions, and habits, and being adverse to the perspective of others. Because what the spiritual teacher will most likely do is to show, another perspective of things, how you see yourself, how you see the world, what we conceive as Dharma practice, challenge many of our ingrained views and habits, and make us work. And then interest, to have curiosity, to have interest, not to be like, says not to be like one of those disciples depicted in the tankas, who are just, they are looking attentively, but completely motionless. They don't have a mind to engage in the teaching. So one needs to have a strong interest and to engage with the teachings, try to retain them, contemplate them, meditate upon them. Yeah. And having an interest in the instructions of the guru, and practice them. Chandrakirti, he adds that one also needs faith and respect when relying on a guru, and this would make us, very suitable disciples for relying on a teacher. Then the way to rely is once we have decided, and this is a sort of it's a mental determination. We don't have to go to the person, ask the person to sign the contract, and we have signed the contract, and now we're guru disciple, and so on. It's not like this. It is a mental decision, a mental determination, which has to mature, and which one makes. And of course, one can ask the teacher as well, but I don't think it's necessary. I think it will become clarified with time. And from that point on, our relationship has changed. Dependent designation has changed. This is not just an ordinary bloke, and it's not just an ordinary Dharma teacher, but it is somebody that we have a special connection with, which can benefit us a lot if we rely in the right way. So according to the scriptures, it says that we should, there's the way to rely in thought and the way to rely in action. Briefly, the way to rely in thought is to view the person as the Buddha. And the sutra in the Mahayana, it is like you see the Guru as the Buddha. Like there's a likeness, but in the Vajrayana, there's no differentiation. Buddha is the Guru is the Buddha. The Guru is the Yidam, the deity. No separation.
Why is it so important to really view the Guru to the, what does it mean exactly? To visualize, to know in my mind that it is like that? That it actually,
To have a conviction, the mental discrimination, that the person that you are relying on is not an ordinary being.
right,
It's not even a sentient being. It's not even a, ideally one views the Guru as Buddha, not even as a Bodhisattva. And a Bodhisattva is extremely high being. Even a
Right.
Bodhisattva on the path of accumulation is an extremely high being.
but isn't it the fact that he's still here between us means that he's Bodhisattva?
No. So you see that the Guru then is manifesting. The essence of relying in thought is to see the Guru as Buddha. And you see that the Buddha is manifesting in an ordinary form.
So I can see it.
So
So
you
he's
can engage, so you can relate, so you can see,
Right.
because we don't have the karma to engage, to relate with a supreme emanation body.
Right,
We definitely don't have the karma to engage with enjoyment body, because they only hang around with Arya Bodhisattvas. But the Guru, takes an ordinary form which displays aging, sickness, death, which displays having to eat, having to go to the toilet, these kind of things, ordinary aspects, in order to relate to sentient beings. And this makes the Guru even more kind than the
Right.
Buddhas, because it's like, the Guru is, could just enjoy himself in a pure land, but is sort of coming to our impure lands to help out,
right,
hang out with us, even though we're not so cool.
right. Okay, I'll let you continue,
Yeah.
but I have a lot of questions.
Mhm.
Because there is a saying right in King of Prayers, if I'm not mistaken, that the goal is to see Buddha in everything, right? Like Buddha is, that everything becomes pure land, everything becomes Buddha.
Yeah. Yes, it's like having this kind of conviction that in every atom
Right,
there are Buddhas numberless as atoms,
right,
inconceivable Buddhas in numberless Buddha realms. Yeah.
so it's okay. Is it the same or it's something different, totally different with what we're talking?
Oh, I would say it's it's quite different. Very difficult to actually even have some kind of inkling for me to have a discrimination that there are numberless Buddhas in this room right now, on each atom, on each hair strand. They're sitting on numberless Buddhas meditating, emanating light and so on. But when you relate with the Guru and you start to see, wow, first of all, you started to engage or relate to rely on this person because you saw this person has amazing qualities. But then you not only see that this person has amazing qualities, you train your mind in seeing the person having the Buddha qualities. That even though the Guru has ordinary aspect, ordinary form, in essence, the mind of the Guru is the Dharmakaya, having the aspects of omniscience, having the aspect of unconditional compassion, and the aspect of spontaneous enlightened activities. And basically that everything that the Guru does is faultless, infallible, because it's done by Buddha. So how could there be faults, if it's done by a faultless being.
Oh,
And then
okay.
when we start to see faults in the guru, the ordinary aspects, one has to, that's when we do a lot of mental training to see that it's not actually faults from the side of the guru. It is because of me, because of my impure karma, my own faults. I cannot understand how this is Buddha activities, but it is Buddha activities. It's not a fault from the side of the guru. It's a fault from myself.
Yeah.
Normally, the gurus would be at certain levels, for example, Lama graduates, or that level of science. And if so, there's so many Buddhist followers, and so few people who have made it to that level, each one of them would have to have thousands of disciples. So how does it work?
No, I mean, just there's what's called in Buddhist logic 4 possibilities. So something which is both a lama and a guru, like a suitable qualified guru. For example, His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Something which is a lama but not a suitable guru. I won't mention names. I don't know. I don't know anybody, but it's not necessarily because you have the title of lama or Rinpoche, etc., that you would necessarily be a qualified guru, that you have those qualities. And even in some, Tibetan traditions, you just being a monk, you are called the lama. And then there are people who are not officially lamas, not officially, recognized as tulkus and so on, but they have amazing qualities. And maybe they have done amazing studies, or they just display amazing qualities, and one can take them as a guru. So it doesn't matter, that they don't have the title. And then something which is both, neither a lama, something which is neither a lama nor a guru. That's probably a lot of beings. So the point of this relying on the guru as a Buddha is that when you see the guru as a Buddha, you will only look upon the good qualities of that being, and you will not let your mind to look at the faults. So in general, it is said that we should not look upon the faults of any being. We should not dwell upon the faults of any being. If we see that they're angry, jealous, whatever, more to think that it's my mental projections. And to rejoice and feel happy about even slight positive quality of any being. So then, if that's true for ordinary beings, then how much more true is it not for somebody who we're relying upon as a guru? So then it says something like, even, if we train our mind like this, only looking at the positive qualities and being blind or not looking at the faults, this allows realizations to be born in our mind. Whereas if we look at the faults rather than the qualities, then first of all, even a very pure being, a very pure guru, will appear as being full of faults, and there will be no benefit for us. We will not develop in the path. And that's the whole point of relying on the guru. It's not to, just have another friend. It's not out of self-importance. It's not, whatever. It's a very special relationship, and it's for the sake of developing our mind and the Dharma, and to heal our mind from our afflictive emotions and the faults and the suffering that they bring in us. That's why we rely on a guru. So when we have made that decision, then it doesn't make sense to start looking at the faults, right? Before you check faults, good qualities, you weigh. But after you have decided, then only look at the good qualities. Doesn't mean that you flush down your common sense in the toilet. Of course, like we said last time, if the guru does something which is completely contradictory to the Dharma, and you know your own capacities as well, then you say, sorry, no, I cannot do it, so on. This is a skillful way to protect oneself. There's this story, yeah, it takes a lot of there's a biography by a Western, was a Western American. It's called Traceless Memories, and he says that when he first got into the Dharma, he met the Dharma through this new Kadampa tradition, and he was very much inspired by the books by this Geshe who wrote them. So those who don't know New Kadampa tradition, it's sort of they broke with His Holiness the Dalai Lama. They broke with the FPMT, sort of they took over the centers, and starting a lot of centers around the world. So he had no idea about all of what was happening. It was in the 80s, late 80s, and beginning of the 90s. And then he was asked by this Geshe to start a center in Seattle, which he did. And then the center was took over by them and so on. But he had taken initiation from this Geshe, and when everything blew up, when this kind of schism happened, when they went out against His Holiness, what he did, he wrote a letter to the Geshe, and he said, he was apologizing, saying that I'm not at the level, I don't have the ability right now to see what you're doing is actually like the Buddha's activities. So I'm sorry. That's why I need to stay far away, from you right now. Will not come for your teachings anymore. So, and I apologize. It's my fault because my mind is all full of dirt. And the Geshe answered actually saying, I understand. It's no problem, etc., etc. So this kind of protecting ourselves, not seeing faults, even if the guru does very outrageous things. Then, so one is relying on faith. This is one way to rely on thought, seeing the guru as the Buddha, as having only good qualities, only like trying to focus on good qualities. And this is a mental training, so don't get completely, it's a mental training. That one goes gradually. Maybe it comes easy if you have a strong connection already, or maybe it doesn't come easy, but it's a mental training. And the other is to remember the kindness of the guru. And I think that becomes more obvious as one tries to practice. One practices the Dharma and one sees a mental transformation in oneself. One sees the happiness it brings oneself, the peace of mind, the delicious taste of the Dharma, and how it transforms our external circumstances, and how incredibly valuable the Dharma is in the world to dispel the causes of suffering. One sees the heavy responsibility of a guru, of one who's taking shouldering the responsibility of upholding the Dharma in the world, teaching it to many beings, giving initiations, giving, ordaining people, giving refuge, being there for people in various ways. And then, one starts to recognize the incredible kindness of the guru. So we know that our parents have been incredibly kind to us in a way that we can never repay. If somebody has accepted us, a qualified Mayana teacher has accepted us as disciples and is guiding us in this life and in future lifetimes, this kindness is, even greater than the kindness of our parents. And that kindness is said to be greater than, the kindness of Shakyamuni Buddha was said to be greater than the kindness of all other Buddhas, because Shakyamuni came in a day and age where the degeneration was sort of ripe, it is said. The degeneration of the minds of people, of lifespan, of environment, and so on, coming into a world which was very difficult, where people are difficult to subdue, where many other Buddhas chose not, to go into that kind of environment, it is said.
I heard actually that the time of Shakyamuni Buddha was a very spiritual time. I mean, he came in India, right? In India?
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes people compare him to Jesus, right? That if Jesus would come in the right time, in the right place, he could be Buddha too. I mean, maybe he is Buddha. So when you say degenerated time, what do you mean by this?
I mean, I'm a little bit like a parrot, no? Like saying what it says in the books, that these are
Right.
degenerate times, and if it's more
No,
degenerate
because I
times.
hear it all the time
But
too.
but it is degenerate. It says in terms of lifespan that our lives are shorter than they used to be, which is, from a scientific point of view,
It's
seems
not true.
it's not to be
It's
true.
the opposite.
Yes. So yeah, this kind of evolutionary thingy, I'm not, convinced. I'm definitely more to the scientific view that our lifespans are longer than they used to be, 100,000 years ago, whatever. But there's also degeneration in the sense that afflictions become stronger and stronger. This is probably true for our age. The afflictive emotions and the negative views are much more ripe now, I think, than they were at the Buddha's time. That mental faculties in general, are also lesser. Of course, this is debatable because now we have general education and so on. But when you look at, how the practitioners are described at the time of the Buddha, that they would memorize thousands and thousands of teachings and just be able to recite them from memory.
Right.
And that many of them would reach arhathood just by listening to the Dharma once or a few times. These things don't happen anymore. Very rare. I mean, there's a few great lamas which have this incredible memory where they read the text once or hear it once and it stays in their mind and they can recite it for others, but for most of us, it's not like that. So degeneration in mental faculties, and then afflictive emotions becoming stronger. Environment is also an aspect of degeneration. So that was already sort of beginning at the time of the age of the Buddha. And so the Shakyamuni Buddha is said to have been kinder than all other Buddhas. And the Guru, a qualified Mahayana master, is even kinder than Shakyamuni Buddha because of appearing for the sake of people are even more difficult to subdue than at Shakyamuni's time. So it's a bit like comparing somebody who is the Buddhas are like on our path. The Buddhas are said to sort of appear on the path of accumulation or the path of preparation, when we would already be quite advanced practitioners, having concentrations, having generated bodhicitta, having uncontrived renunciation, and so on, and being very determined to practice. So they're a bit like people helping you out when you already have shelter and food and things are going well, and then they appear and say, come, I'll help you a little bit more. But the Guru is there when when we don't have those things.
Can you please, if possible, for you to share with us some examples of people in the monastery in Nalanda that you know that are the gurus, or they have their own guru? How does it work?
That they are gurus, or that they're...
Either. How does it work? If possible.
Isn't it your decision if you think, okay, this guy going to be my guru after you did all your checking and stuff?
Yes, this one's own decision. Well, I mean, there is a Venerable Charles at the Vajrayogini Institute. He doesn't have any title of Lama. He's not a recognized Tulku, any of this. He's an ordinary monk. He doesn't even allow you to call him Venerable. Didn't do a lot of studies. He was forced to come and listen to the studies of, Geshe Teksho asked him to come, and because he had so much respect for Geshe Teksho, he would come and listen in the 80s. But then his goal was just to practice, to do retreat, and then to practice purification, accumulation, and do whatever Lama Zopa Rinpoche would instruct him to do. And since many years now, he's practicing a lot of nungnes, 108 per year, like guiding 108 nungnes per year, which is an incredible, like for an ordinary being, an incredible sort of heavy thing to do. But he does it year after year after year. And when he's not doing that, he goes to other places and guides nungnes. And when he has some time some spare time, he's just giving audiences. He's giving, people want to meet him, have questions, and so on. And I doubt he sleeps very much. In the night, he's up making the chai for the people in the nungnes, and or feeding the mice. I don't know what it. So, I mean, this is a person who outwardly ordinary monk, no title, etc. Inwardly, who knows what he is. For me, definitely like qualified super guru. I heard from somebody like a person, a monk who tells me many mysterious things. So I don't know, but he said something like he overheard Lama Zopa Rinpoche say, or maybe it was the jungle telegraph. Sometimes I have to tell him not to do the jungle telegraph too much, but that this Charles, that in his previous life he was a geshe, like he was a great geshe. But in this life, manifesting differently. So,
What is
and
the jungle telegraph?
jungle telegraph is I say one thing and then you tell one thing and so on and so on. And I tell you A, but here I get Z, right?
Okay, we call it in Hebrew a broken cell phone, broken telephone.
Yeah.
Broken telephone.
Yeah.
Jungle telegraph.
Yeah, another example is one person that came to the monastery is young, like he was 34, and
The first one has some disciples who feel very
yeah. I don't know if he's aware or not. I think he's aware, but he doesn't take it too much. It seems like
It doesn't need to be formal relationships. I
no,
request you answer yes or no.
no,
Like this.
doesn't have to be like that.
Consultations, it's not something established necessarily. Relationship.
No, doesn't have to be like that.
It's like a model.
It's like a model for you, like a model Dharma practitioner for you, somebody who inspires you, that you feel that you received a lot, and yeah, that helps you in your Dharma practice, and that you can view being something more than just an ordinary being, and that you include in sort of your refuge field. And then when you relate to that person, because you're relating to that person, let's say with a more open heart, with a more kind or devoted heart, there will be something happening there, which is different from when you're just relating to another person as an ordinary being or as a friend. Will be another like benefit coming from it. So we need some break. Oh, we need some meditation maybe.
Little break and meditation.
Yeah, that's good.
But isn't it true? I'm sorry, maybe you want to break too.
Oh, that's good.
That the most important that the guru will realize the four seals, right? It could be an angry man or impatient.
No, the most important is, of course, it's important that the guru, has a conviction in the four seals, because this is what makes you Buddhist by view. Just as important that the guru, if you want to follow the Buddhist path, then your guru should probably be Buddhist. It doesn't necessarily, like I consider Saint Francis my guru.
It's
he's a
Christian.
Christian. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
So that's of course important that it has a conviction in the four seals, but the most important are these that 3 higher trainings, that it's somebody who's been able to subdue their own mind, behavior, and so on by ethics, whereas somebody who subdued their mind to serenity, concentration, somebody who has started to understand selflessness and can convey it to others. Then loving kindness, somebody who's motivated by loving kindness and not worldly concerns, and who has at least a conceptual understanding of emptiness, best a direct realization of emptiness. Yeah. Those are the 5 sort of essential characteristics. Then if the guru is eloquent, of course, it's good if that person is able to convey the meaning, but that's not the most important either. If the guru is learned, that's also good, but that's not the most important either, etc. If the guru manifests in the way of, let's say, a very humble being, that might be pleasing to the mind, but the Guru might manifest in the in the aspect of Marpa, Utsava Marpa, as a wrathful
Right,
person,
right,
like Venerable Rubina.
exactly.
She's also
Yeah.
not recognized in any way. I heard she was also Geshe.
Rabbeinu.
Venerable Rubina.
Venerable
But
Rubina.
okay, this is the jungle telegraph.
Right.
Definitely the jungle telegraph. So don't take it as truth. But no title, etc. But many people consider her as their guru.
Yeah, people that relate to her,
Mhm.
to her kind of character.
Mhm. So her, and I'm no doubt in my mind that she's motivated by incredible compassion, incredible love and kindness. And she was the sort of the first person when I met the Dharma. She was the first person I heard the Dharma from. And she was scolding me. And I
Yeah.
liked it because I knew that Buddhism was going against the ego. And I had no doubt that it was coming from a good place. No doubt.
She was also here 5 times.
Yeah, I talked about it.
She told me, you don't know how to prostrate. You don't do it
We
wrong.
actually learned to prostrate with her
Mhm.
because right after her visit, Lamrim Chenmo arrived. So we rehearsed.
Not Len, it was Dada Rinpoche after a visit.
No, Lamrim Chenmo. To
So-
learn to prostrate and to give the mandala.
I know for a fact it was Dada Rinpoche because she screamed at me, "Are you out of your mind? Cancel all the venues. No way 200 people will come."
Maybe, but I'm talking about the Lamrim Chenmo that came after she visited.
Anyway, somebody that you needed to prostrate to.
No, but
Yeah,
she
yeah,
taught
yeah.
us how to, yeah.
Yeah, we practiced it when she arrived, and
Yes, that's good to do before teaching, to prostrate to the 3 jewels, and to meet the. I mean, if we have one representation here, but good to have a stupa and then the text, and then to meet the 3 jewels as well, like making eye contact, making heart contact.
yeah.
Not like me when I go into the compound like this, but really to make that contact and remember, why I take refuge and why I follow this path. It's
Yeah.
good to do before teachings.
Okay.
Yep.
That's a catch, damn it.